everyone! Today I'm going to teach you how to make a few place cards for your wedding or event coming up. Let's get started. For this place card, you will need ivory watercolor paper, a ruler, a pencil, a thin black Sharpie pen, 4 gold wax beads, a wax melting spoon, a candle, a stem of dried yarrow, a stamp, and a toothpick. If you'd like to make your own ivory colored paper, I'll leave my paper dyeing tutorial in the description for you. The first thing we're going to do is grab a piece of ivory colored paper, and then you're going to create a grid with a ruler and a pencil, 3.5 inches by 2 inches. You can fit about 12 place cards all on one page, so that works really well. After that, we're going to rip the page so that our place cards all have a lovely deckled edge. Let's go ahead and do that. You can go ahead and fold and rip along each pencil line, or you can cut the paper along the pencil grid and then rip a tiny bit around each place card. Either option works, and it really depends on your ripping preference. For one of the place cards, I'm going to have it standing, and then for the other one, I'm going to simply have it laying flat. The first thing you're going to want to do is pre-write out the name of the person that you're writing the place card for with a pencil, and then write over it with either a Sharpie or a different type of pen, because the last thing you want to do is have this all stamped up with the wax and the flower and then write someone's name incorrectly or mess up the cursive. The first name I chose was Bride because the bride is very important. I'm going to go over this pencil with black Sharpie. That looks beautiful. Just gonna wait for it to dry and then erase some of the pencil markings from underneath. You don't want to erase the pencil markings too strongly because you'll erase the dye on the paper. So the next thing we want to do is add a wax stamp to the side of this place card. I am going to try to fit the stamp right around here between the side and the B, as equal as I can. The thing is with a stamp, once the wax gets flowing, you cannot control the way it goes. So you really try your best. Let's get that wax warmed up. Because we are using a flame, you don't want to leave a candle on a table. So I would suggest putting your flame on something, a plate, something that will avoid wax spilling onto things that you care about. Then we are going to take this wax utensil, place 4 wax tablets within, and I've come up with a method that I find is quite useful. I use a toothpick to move the little wax pieces around so that the wax melts quickly. If you leave them, they will melt. However, it will take a lot longer. So we just kind of press them down with the toothpick to quicken the pace. During my own wedding, I did this 300 plus times. And I have to say, no single wax seal turned out the same. It's always a fun little mystery what exact shape you're going to get, especially when you're doing it by hand. And I would not say I'm a professional wax sealer by any means, so I think that this would be an excellent gauge as to what your seals could potentially look like. Okay, the wax is starting to warm up nicely. We are going to use a piece of yarrow facing to the left. My goal is to get the wax seal right here in the center, place the flower into the seal, and then quickly press the stamp onto the wax to create a beautiful wax seal. Now we're going to hold the stamp onto the wax just until it sets, because if you take it off too soon, the wax will bubble off and create a little mess up. Okay, This is place card number 1. Very beautiful. I love the way the yarrow sits on the side. It worked out really nicely. In terms of the utensil, the best thing to do after you have created your stamp is to wipe it down so that the wax doesn't get stuck on it. The second place card that we are going to make includes pressed flowers. For this place card, you will need ivory watercolor paper, a pencil, a pen, 1 pressed hydrangea blossom, 2 pressed feverfew flowers, glue, a heart-shaped hole punch, and a thin piece of chiffon ribbon. And again, we're going to pre-write the name on the card so that we don't waste pressed flowers if the writing doesn't work out. And then we'll put a pressed flower on the side, as well as a little hole with this heart-shaped hole puncher, and then a little piece of chiffon ribbon. I wrote the name Groom and then tested out the placement of the pressed hydrangea and feverfew flowers to see if I liked them before proceeding with the glue. After the glue has dried, I'm going to go in with a toothpick and glue down any other pieces that are sitting up so that everything stays glued down. So beautiful. A little heart-shaped hole puncher. So pretty. So far, these are 2 options for a beautiful place card for your wedding. One screams spring, and the other screams any type of year. Classic. Should we try one more? For the third and final place card, you will need ivory watercolor paper, a pencil, a thin black Sharpie pen, an assortment of small pressed flowers, a thin piece of chiffon ribbon, a pair of scissors, and glue. Let's use the name Sarah. As with before, I started by writing out Sarah in pencil and then drawing over it in thin black Sharpie pen. After that, I assembled various dried flowers, including a stem of lavender, a stem of feverfew, a grass bunny tail, and then a few blades of grass to act as greenery. I got my thin piece of chiffon ribbon and tied it around the mini pressed flower bouquet, and then I cut the bottom of the flower stems to make sure they were all uniform at the base. Following that, I glued them perpendicularly to the place card, and then it was done. Thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed learning a bit more about how to make some beautiful place cards for your wedding or event. The first one was a stamp with a beautiful yarrow dried flower. The second was pressed flowers with a little chiffon tie at the end, and the third was a little bouquet with a chiffon tie, and all using deckled edged paper. Please let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. All right, bye now.